Okay, we're going to go over the study guide for Unit 8, our last unit. And make sure you take notes, pause the video if need be, and study your study guide because it will help you do well on the test. Okay, the first problem, it says simplify. Now there's a -5 on the outside of this parentheses. We need to distribute it, which means we need to multiply. -x, 9x is our first term. -5 times 2 is -10, is now our second term. -5 times 3x is -15x. So we've distributed the -5, multiplying it through the parentheses. Now we got to combine like terms. This guy and this guy are like terms. -9x and -15x make a -24x. Combine them, like terms, and it is a -10. So your final answer is -24x minus 10. Number 2, we need to simplify. I'm going to underline all the like terms. Okay, so we have all the like terms underlined. Let's add them up. 5t, 1t, 1t, 1t is 8t, plus 2t is 10t. So we have 10 with the t. Then we have a 5. Anybody with the 5? No. So let's just write it down. Then we have this 2a. Nothing else with that. I'm just going to write it down. And remember, it's a plus 2a. If it said minus 2a, you have to make sure you put minus 2a. So there's your final answer. Okay, so your final answer is 10t plus 2a plus 5, number 2. Number 3, which is equivalent by the distributive property? Well, we're going to pull out our GCF. What is our GCF? Our greatest common factor. So GCF, what do they both share? Well, it looks like in 10 and 5, they both share a 5. So I want to pull out a 5. And then remember, once you pull it out, you must divide by that 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2 with an S. 5 divided by 5, remember I'm dividing both of these terms by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and you're left with just a t. So 1t can be written as just t. So your final answer is 5 parentheses 2s plus t. Number 4, we have a rectangle. I'm going to draw that rectangle. Not very pretty, but I'll draw it. Okay, my rectangle. The length, here's the length, is 3 more than 4 times the width. Well, 4 times the width is 4w. 4 times the width, adding 3 more. So the length is 4w plus 3. There's the 3 more. There's the 4 times. Here's your w. So now it says, what represents the area of that rectangle? Well, that means I need to find the area of a rectangle. A equals length times w. So that means we need to multiply this times this. So 4w plus 3 in parentheses times w. Length times width. So w times 4w is 4w squared. And w times 3 is 3w. So our final answer is 3w plus 4w. I'm sorry, 4w squared plus 3w. Okay, number 5. A square has sides of 4x plus 2. If a rectangle is made up of 3 of these squares, so I've drawn a rectangle. I have 3 squares in it. So here's one of the squares. Here's another of the square. So that's 1, 2, 3 squares. Now each of the sides is 4x plus 2. So each side, wherever there's a square, is 4x plus 2. So I could go all the way around the square and put 4x plus 2. Now, well, I'm going all the way around the rectangle, which has the 3 squares. So 4x plus 2, 4x plus 2. The last part of this question is write an expression that would represent the perimeter of this rectangle. Well, anytime you find the perimeter of anything, you add up all the sides. Let's add up all the sides. How many sides do I have? Let's count them. After I finish writing 4x plus 2 on all of them. Okay, let's see how many 4x's I have. Let's start here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need to do 8 times 4x. How many 2's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I also have 8 2's. So I'm basically multiplying the expression 4x plus 2 times 8. Well, what do you get? 8 times 4x is 32x. And 8 times 2 is 16. So your final answer of the perimeter of this rectangle is 32x plus 16. Okay, factor, which means we're going to have 2 parentheses. And remember our cross, or our x, sorry. The last term needs to multiply to be 35 and add to be our middle term of 12. So over here, I'm going to write the multiples of 35. Well, we know 1 is 5 times 7, or 7 times 5, however you want to write it. And that's pretty much it. 35 times 1 is a multiple of 35. Now your second part of your column needs to add up to be 12. Well, 7 plus 5 is 12. 7 plus 5 is 12. 35 plus 1 is 36. So the only 2 numbers that work, that multiply to give you 35, add to give you 12, are 7 and 5. So 7 goes here, 5 goes here. So it'll end up being x times x gives you your x squared right there, a plus 7, and a plus 5 will work out. And you could check it by multiplying. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 plus 5 is 12. Number 7, we need to simplify. Okay, on number 7, we're going to distribute. We're going to multiply 2x times x, 2x times 5. Well, 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x plus times 5 is 10x. Then now I'm going to change colors. In green, we're going to multiply -3, watch that sign, times x, and -3 times 5. -3 times x, negative 3x. Negative 3 times 5, negative 15. Now let's combine some like terms. These guys in the middle are like terms. 10x minus 3x, 7x, and write everything else down. So using the distributive property to multiply out and combine like terms, your answer is going to be 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. Great. Simplify. Well, there's a plus sign between these. So all I'm going to do is a plus x and a minus 5. Let's combine like terms. We have a negative 4x here, combined with my x over here, and we have a plus 2, which we're going to combine with the like term of negative 5. So what is negative 4 plus an x? Negative 3x. What is a 2 minus a 5? Negative 3. And there's your final answer. Negative 3x minus 3. Okay, let's look at this. 3x minus 5, and the whole expression is squared. That means anytime you square something, you have two of them. So 3x minus 5 in parentheses and 3x minus 5. So 3x minus 5 times 3x minus 5. Let's do the distributive property. 3x and then 3x times negative 5. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 5, negative 15x. Then we do negative 5 times 3x, negative 15x. Then we do negative 5 times negative 5, which gives you a positive 25. In the middle, combine like terms. That's negative 30. Negative 15 and negative 15 is negative 30x plus 25. And don't forget our 9x squared in the front. And your final answer is 9x squared minus 30x plus 25. Okay, which expression represents the perimeter of the figure below? Well, we're going to add up all our sides. This plus this plus this plus this plus this, all our x's. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So all our x's add up to 11x. Now let's do our numbers. 6 minus 3 is 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10, minus 2 is 8. Go all the way around and add up your sides. So your final answer is 11x, so plus 8, not minus 8, plus 8. Number 11, distribute. Remember, x times x, x times negative 4. Well, x times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Now let's do the 3. 3 times x, 3x. And 3 times a negative 4. Watch that sign. It's a negative 4. So it's negative 12. Combine your terms in the middle, which are like terms. Negative 4 plus 3 is a negative 1x minus 12. And the x squared is in the front. So x squared minus 1x. I don't need the 1, but you can put the 1 there. X squared minus x minus 12 is your answer. Okay, number 12, factor. Okay, let's get our cross here, or our x first. And then we have make a factor thing over here. Okay, so first you find your GCF. Well, there is no GCF between 4, 5, and negative 6. So step 1, when we go through our steps, is we're going to multiply A times C. That's what goes up here, right here, A times C. So A is your first term, times your C, which is your last term, which is 4 times a negative 6. Watch that sign. 4 times a negative 6 is a negative 24. So we need our two numbers to multiply together, give us negative 24, our A times our C. Now they need to add up to be our B term. What is our B term? Second step. A plus C must equal our middle term of 5. Where'd the 5 come from? Right here. So I'm going to pause the video and write our multiples of negative 24. So they need to multiply to give negative 4, add to be a 5. Okay, so I wrote some multiples down here. Negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. Negative 2 times 12, negative 24. And negative 3 times 8, negative 24. On the right-hand side, let's add them. What is negative 4 plus 6? 2. What is negative 2 plus 12? 10. And what is negative 3 plus 8? 5. Well, it looks like our last one is the only one that works. Negative 3 times 8 gives us 24. When you add them, you get 5. So the two numbers I'm going to use are negative 3 and 8. So I'm going to write them over here, negative 3 and 8. But I'm not done. What's the last step? The last step is to divide by your A. So step number 3, divide by your A term. Well, what is our A term? Our A term is 4. So we're going to divide by 4. So up here, I'm going to divide by 4. Right here, I'm going to divide by 4. And then we're going to find the answer. Well, this fraction doesn't reduce. This fraction does. 8 over 4 reduces to a 2. So let's now do our parentheses. Okay, we know we have an x plus 2. That's our right-hand side. X plus 2. But we have a fraction on the other side. Remember, the number on the bottom, which is our 4, goes to the front. So it'll be 4x. The number on the top goes to the back. How about a minus 3? And if you were to distribute this out and multiply it, you would end up with our answer right here. So our factored answer is 4x minus 3, x plus 2. Pause the video if you need to catch up. Remember your 3 steps. Multiply, add, find the two numbers, then divide by your A term. Number 13, let's factor this one. Again, here's our x. This is a times c. First step. What is a times c? 4 times 1. So we need a 4. And we need a term of 4 in the b term. So this is our b term right here. So what two numbers multiply together to give you 4, add to give you 4? How about 2 times 2? And 2 plus 2 is 4. So our two numbers are 2 and 2. Now the last term, this was step 1. This was step 2. We need to divide by our a term. Okay, so we divide both sides by 4. Let's reduce those fractions. 2 over 4 is 1/2. 2 over 4 over here is also 1/2. So remember, the number on the bottom goes to the front. The number on the bottom of both of them is 2. So 2x 2x Okay, so the bottom number goes in the front. The top number goes in the back. Top number is 1. And if you were to multiply out 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1, you would end up with 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. So your factored answer is right here. Okay, and the next one, 14, simplify the following expression. Well, we got to combine like terms, and if you notice, all 3 of these are like terms. There's a 1 right here. 1x plus 3x is 4x. 4x plus 5x is 9x. So to simplify that expression, your answer is 9x.
Previous off already. Shouldn't give us 17.
Okay, and the next one, number 15, write an expression equivalent to 8 on the outside, parentheses, x minus 7. We're going to distribute. 8 times x, 8x. 8 times a negative 7 is a negative 56. No like terms to combine, so your answer is 8x minus 56. Don't forget, pause the video, go back if you need to. True or false? Let's look at each of these. X plus x, is it the same as 2x? Yes, so if you add x plus x, you get 2x. So the first one is true. Next one, x times x is the same as 2x. Well, that's not true. X times x is x squared. So the second one is false. So false here. X times x is the same as x squared. Well, we just said that right here. That would be true. And the last one, 1x plus 2 is equivalent to x plus 2. And that is true also. Remember, we don't need the 1. It's the same thing. If you wrote 1x plus 2, it's the same thing as writing x plus 2. So number 16, true, false, true, true. Number 17, we need to factor this expression. Take out what they share. What number goes into 5 and 30? 5 goes into 5 and 30. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5, both terms. There's x3 here and x1 here, so they share 1x. So we're going to divide that. So our GCF is 5x. That goes on the outside of your parentheses. Now let's divide by that 5x. 5 divided by 5 is 1. I don't need to put the 1, but I'll put it. x3, if I have 3 and I take 1 away, I'm going to have 2 left. 30 divided by 5, or negative 30 divided by 5, is a negative 6. If I have 1x and I take an x away, you're left with no x. So your final answer is your GCF 5x on the outside, x squared minus 6. Number 18, distribute means multiply. 6x times 3x is 18x squared. 6 times 3 is 18. X times x is x squared. 6x times 8 is 48x. And your final answer is 18x squared plus 48x. No talking. Okay, we have a minus sign between these two, which means we need to change the signs on everything behind. The 3x becomes a minus 3x. And the negative and negative make a positive 1. Now let's combine like terms. 4x squared, is there any x squared over here? No, so just write it down. 4x squared. The negative 3x, any negative 3x over here? Nope, so just write it down. And the last, we have a negative 5 and a positive 1. When you combine those, you get a negative 4. So your answer is 4x squared minus 3x minus 4. Remember, change the signs. And the last one, we need to multiply. 5x times that 5x, we're distributing. 25x squared. Then we do 5x times a negative 2 is a negative 10x. Now let's change colors and do the other number. 2 times 5x, 10x. And 2 times a negative 2, right here, is minus 4. So combine like terms. Well, if I have 10x and I take away 10x, I'm left with 0. So this middle part goes to 0. And we're left with the final answer of 25x squared minus 4. Okay, so we've completed your study guide. You need to take this home and know how to do all the problems on it.